introduce ourselves, it's time to introduce the certification, right? PMP, Project Management Professional. I hope all of you are preparing for PMP. Nobody is for CAPM, because CAPM is a certification which is for people who are at the entry level. So PMP, Project Management Professional, this is the designation once you get your certification. Is from, who is the certifying body? PMI. They are from US. So they are headquartered in Pennsylvania, United States. Although, usually when you look at certifications, UK certification and US certification, you will see some kind of a rivalry, right? But when it comes to PMP, Project Management PMP certification, although we have a UK certification, which is Prince 2, but PMP is a clear leader in this area, right? Because PMI have members across more than 200 countries, okay, which is the whole world, okay, and they also have chapters. So in UAE also there is a chapter, but UAE chapter is not. I have a disappointment with UAE chapter because they are not very active like in India, right? In India there are many PMI chapters like Hyderabad chapter, Bangalore chapters, and all. So they used to be very active, and we used to get invite every month to either to give a lecture or to attend a lecture, so that you will get free PDUs, okay, once you are a member. But such kind of activities are not happening in UAE. But otherwise, the chapters are very active, and their popularity is high because of these chapters as well. And PMI is also a very updating. They keep themselves updated. Every 4 to 5 years, they update their exams very often. They update their standards very often. So that is also another reason why employers, look for a PMP certification. And the credibility of the examination is also maintained, right? Unlike many other examination, the credibility is maintained because as they are updating the questions very often, and it is not very easy to get any mock question like the direct. You will get mock questions, but they are not the PMP questions. They are just mock, right? So if you take many certifications, if you just practice some 500 questions, you can pass, but that will not work out in the PMP examination, right? You can practice some 1000 question, you can pass, no, right? Because by the time you practice 1000 questions, you would have updated that question, okay? So it would have already become obsolete, okay? So that is the reason why PMP certification is a very sought after certification by employers, okay? And also they constantly do a JTA. JTA is a job task analysis, okay? Or they call it as RDS, role delineation study. You will hear all this terms, okay? JTA or RDS, they call it role delineation study. So what do they do before they update a certification, before they update our syllabus, what do? Is they will go for a survey, they will go for a focus group, they will go for an interview with the employers, and they will call for questionnaires and all. And they would ask the employers that, what do you expect? What kind of skills and knowledge would you expect from a project manager? So based on the survey only, they will they will revise the syllabus. So if they are changing the proportion of the questions, which means that they have got a feedback from the industry, right? So it is more relevant with the industry. Usually you will see a divide between the campus and the corporate, right? So campus, the classroom, the education industry. But you don't see that divide. In fact, PMI is much ahead of your real world environment, right? For example, the agile concepts are now only entering into construction field. It is now only entering into oil and gas, but you are going to learn agile. Okay, of course, agile is already matured in IT industry. Agile became popular only in the mid of, I would say, in the first decade of the 21st century. Okay, but it has already been included in your syllabus. But our MBA project management is still talking about activity on arrow, okay, which was used in First World War. Okay, that's how our college syllabus is, right? That is why people are looking for certifications. Okay, it's because it will keep you pretty updated. So, what is the website of PMI?
PMI.org.
PMI.org, not com. Did not get the com, I believe. Okay, .com. PMI.org. Okay, so this is the website I want you to visit today. I want you all to visit today. Go through the website because that is going to be your window for everything. You want to apply your examination, you're going to see there. You want to know your eligibility, this website. You want to you will get your result there. You will get your certification there. You will get your badge in that. You will have your dashboard there. And once you are becoming a member, you will know your member status there. After you become a PMP, if you want to upload your PDUs, you have to renew your certification, right? Your renewal is also through this website, right? So pmi.org. And once you become a, just explore it. Okay, just explore it. And they also have another website, www.projectmanagement.com. Projectmanagement.com. This is also PMI's website. PMI.org, projectmanagement.com. And inside PMI.org, or you can directly go to standards plus, if you put standards plus PMI in Google, it will lead to you, it will lead you to a link. Okay, I don't remember that. It should be standard plus PMI.org. It is a sublink of PMI, right? So standards plus or standard plus PMI, okay, put PMI there. So this is the website where you can download templates, okay, where you can download sample project management documents, old standards, okay, articles, blogs, all this you can download it from here, okay. So this will be, you can access it only if you are a member. You can access for 1 year, whatever you want, you can download. Anyway, you will become a member because if you're applying for the examination, you will anyway become a member. So use that membership, use that membership by downloading all the standards and templates. Okay, and you don't have to keep your membership renewed every year. That is not required. So, but when you are a member, download the latest templates, standards, books, all books, it will come free of cost for you. I mean, within your membership cost. 7th edition, 6th edition, ACP, Agile Practice Guide, Earned Value Analysis Standard, Risk Management Standard, Scheduling Professional Standard, Business Analysis Standard. All the standard will, be free of cost to you. Okay, so please download all of them. And there's one more website called as pmi.lochoice.com. Okay, pmi.lochoice, logical operations, lochoice.com. This is very, say for example, if you want more materials, okay, then you can go here. Okay, pmi.lochoice. I'm not sure whether you will have an access key. If you will have, I'll check with the Quadra Plus. Okay, so if you have an access key, then you will be going to this website. Okay, PMI.choice. I'll keep you updated about this PMI choice, right? What you have to do with this. So these are the major websites. Of course, the primary website is PMI.org. Okay. So that is about PMI. PMI is originally started to act as a platform to gather knowledge. Okay, so they started in the year 1969. Okay, so they recently had their golden jubilee. And 1969, they started with an objective of acting as a platform to develop this project management discipline. But later, after let's say 20 years, 1990s, what did they do? They accumulated a lot of knowledge by means of white papers. White papers means, and you would have heard in politics, no, white paper, right? A problem usually in politics. What do they do? If there is a problem, they have to create a problem statement and they have to give a solution, and that article is called as a white paper, right? So they have collected a lot of white paper. White paper in the sense many professionals have given, like, these are the challenges and these are the solutions. These are the challenges, these are the solutions. And what did they do? They accumulated all of that and published the first PMBOK guide. First PMBOK guide. So PMBOK stands for body of knowledge. Okay. Project management, body of knowledge. This is the standard for project management. Okay, this is ANSI approved. ANSI means American National Standards Institute. So that if you have to come up with any standard book, They had to approve this, right? It is ANSI approved. And Project Management Body of Knowledge, the first edition came probably in 1996. And then after every 4 to 5 years, they renew this edition. So what is the current edition? Seventh edition. So it came in 2021, July 2021. The new edition came, 7th edition. So this PMO guide is for everybody, right? Whether you are a project coordinator, whether you are a project manager or a project engineer or anybody who's doing some part in projects, for all of them. If you want to know the current practices, you can refer to PMO guide. So the point is, it is not published for PMP aspirants. We are using it as a reference guide, okay? But this is not originally published it for, people are thinking that the PMO guide is the PMP book. No, it's not a PMP study guide. It is a standard for project management, right? So then what happened, 1996, they came up with this PMO guide. Then after, let's say a few years after, they introduced this certification. Okay, that is when they introduced this certification, the credential for the professionals. So they have a list of credentials for the professionals. So these are various, the various, credential for professionals. So one of the certification is CAPM, Certified Associate in Project Management. This is for people who have no experience in project. So a high school equivalent can do the CAPM, or anybody who have less than 1 year experience can go for CAPM. So this is for people who wants to enter into project management, and the examination, if you look at it, will be very direct exam. Like you will have a direct question. For example, they may ask you like, which of the below tools is used for collecting requirement? Which of the below tool is used for scheduling, right? Such kind of questions will come in CAPM. PMP, which is our interest, this is for people who have considerable years of experience in projects in a leadership role. Okay. So when I say leadership role, it could be a leadership of a particular department. It should be a leadership of a particular team. It's not necessarily that you should have a project manager designation. Okay. At least 36 months of experience in projects. Okay, is required to go for the PMP certification. How many months? 36 months. If you have a bachelor's degree or above, you have to have 36 months. But if someone do not have a bachelor's degree, like a diploma, then they should have 60 months of project experience. Okay, so you have to show I'll tell you how to fill, I'll talk about the application process later. So this should be deliberated in your application form. Okay, 36 months of project experience or 60 months of project experience, depending upon your education. And in addition to that, there is a mandatory 35 hours of formal project management education. Okay, so this training will qualify you on that, right? 35 hours of formal project management education is required to go for this examination, PMP examination. Here, the questions will be like very situational questions. So they may give you a scenario. You are a project manager talking to your sponsor, and one stakeholder told you this or came up with this kind of a concern. What would you do in this situation? Option A, B, C. Okay. So you mostly like 2 or 3 options will be very close to each other. So that is why the exam is tough. Okay. Yes, it is multiple choice, but I'll talk about different kinds of question. Although it is an objective type question, although the questions are MCQs, multiple choice questions, but recently in 2021, they have introduced some new kind of questions. Earlier, the question were like 4 choices, you have to pick 1 choice, right? But currently it is not like that. Yes, majority of the questions are like that. Around 80% of the questions are like, they will give you 4 choice, you have to pick 1 choice. But they have introduced some new questions like graph-based question, chart-based question. They are saying that probably in 2023 end or 2024 beginning, they may probably introduce a video-based question. In the sense you have to run a video, they will explain some scenario, and you have to do your exam as early as right? So these kind of questions might be introduced in the future. So I'll talk about the question pattern later. So PMP is for people who have managerial experience or considerable experience in project management. And PGM, have you heard of this?
Program management.
Program management professional. IT guys would have heard about it. They would have even have a designation called as program manager, right? So program management professional is for people who handle multiple interrelated projects. For example, under you, there are many project managers, and all these project managers are working towards a single assignment, which is like a program goal. Then the person who is handling that program is called as a program manager. So the program manager have to manage the interdependencies among the project, right? PGM, that's a separate book for it, standard for program management. So when you become a member, you can download that app also. Okay, so this is a separate examination and separate standard, everything is separate.
I want to know, PGMP. Without PMP, we can still apply
Yes.
for PGMP.
Yes. So none of this certification require any prerequisite certification. You can directly go for PFMP also. Okay. So as long as the eligibility is met. So if you want to go for PGMP, again, you have to have experience in program management. Then only you would have worked as a program manager, or then only we will have a program manager, not necessarily the designation program manager role. If you have done, you can go for PGMP. And then PFMP. PFMP stands for Portfolio Management Professional. So portfolio in the sense of business division, right? Or a strategic business unit or a revenue line. Okay. Like for example, Sandhya was talking about, we are in retail, we do projects in what else? Hospitals. So these are all portfolios, right? If at all your company divide them into portfolios, right? So if you're handling the complete division, in the sense, probably you are a managing director, sometimes you will have a designation called as portfolio manager. Okay, but they are like a division head, general managers, division heads, VP, CEOs. So whoever makes investment decision for that business unit, they can go for PFMP, Portfolio Management Professional. That is again level above PGMP. So PMP is not the end. That's what I'm trying to say. You can, you have to come back to quadruplets again. Okay. So PGMP, PFMP, etc. And then we also have the certification. PMI has certification. Specialized certification for specialists. For example, if you're a risk expert and you wanted to get certified on risk alone, you have this PMI, RMP, risk management professional, and then SP, scheduling professional. If you're a planning engineer and you want to get certified in only scheduling part, you can go for PMI SP. And then PBA for business analysts. Okay, PMI, PBA, professional in business. This is recently introduced, recently in the sense 5-6 years before they introduced it. And it is becoming popular. PBA is becoming popular because this role of PBA is originally from IT, but now it is introduced in a different name even in construction industry, even in oil and gas industry, because this client relationship, managing this client relationship have become because the clients are becoming more knowledgeable, they're asking a lot of questions, they want a lot of customization, a lot of tailoring, right? Somebody, project manager, if he manages the customer, he can't manage the project. So we require somebody in between, right, to manage the client relationships. So this business, so a techie, like a techno-commercial, BA business, as we said, she was from a developer side, correct? So it requires both the technical knowledge and a business sense, right? That is PBA certification, PMI PBA. So because of the importance of business analysis, they have introduced in CAPM examination, which means in future PMP, this may be introduced. Okay, so in the current CAPM examination, they have got 27% of questions will come from business analysis part. Thank God, currently we do not have it in PMP. Okay, we already have too much syllabus. And then ACP. What is ACP? Agile Certified Practitioner. Again, a emerging, becoming more popular nowadays. PMI ACP, Agile. We are going to talk about Agile project management. Agile means flexible, okay, which can adapt to changes. So earlier in PMP, there was no Agile portion. There was no Agile concept at all in PMP. It will only discuss predictive or traditional project management. So people used to go only to, if you want to learn Agile, you have to only go for ACP certification. But currently we have basics of Agile in PMP as well. Okay, so that's PMI ACP. And recently PMI have acquired a company which is called as Disciplined Agile. Okay, Disciplined Agile was original a separate company. Now it is a part of it was acquired by PMI. So they have introduced a lot of disciplined Agile certification. Okay. Anyway, that is for your exploration in the future. So our interest is now what? PMP. This is just to make you aware that these are the various certifications. So every certification have their own syllabus, reference guides, and eligibility criteria, etc., etc. So this is what I told you. When you become a member, you can download all the standards. Okay, so that would be of a great treasure to you. Okay? Right. Any questions so far? Yes, go ahead.
Even we have heard about this, we haven't seen the industry requirement unless you.
Right. So although PGMP is one level above, although PFMP is again above, PMP is the most popular certification. Even people who are working as a program manager, they will come back and do PMP because of the popularity. Because you have the certification, but the employer should know that, right?
Yeah.
There is no certification. Right, you are right. So there are 1 million PMPs, okay, in the world. There are not even 100 PFMPs in the world.
Even in job openings, you can see everyone is asking for either PMP or Prince2 or
Right.
IT or something like that.
Right.
To IT.
Right. So the world should get mature. Huh? Let's wait for that. Okay. So it is, there is a lot of difference. In fact, for PFMP, you have to, it is not just an exam. You have to, there will be a panel in PMI who will have an interview. Okay, then only you can pass PFMP. Okay, so as you move forward that, then the examination is tough. For PGMP, now they are introducing, writing an article. You have to write a paper for PGMP. That's what they said. They are going to introduce it. As I am not sure whether they are going, they're ready to do it or already done it. Okay. So of course, the syllabus is different, and you will see this PFMP. You take Emirates Airlines. In Emirates Airlines, if you see, you have PGMP, PG program management. You can even see PMO, PGMO, PFMO, and then project managers, program managers, portfolio managers. The same designation you will see in Emirates Airlines. Also in Etisalat, program managers. Okay, so this is newly, Etisalat is becoming more aligned towards the PMI standards. So they are introducing this. So more and more awareness comes into picture. More and more people like you become PMP. Then you can make, okay, your PGMP is eligible for the job, so that you can save your job, right? So that, and of course, when the awareness increases, you will see this designation in future. Any other questions?
What is this chapter?
Okay, chapter is a non-profit, they call it non-profit. Okay, non-profit wing of PMI. Okay, so for example, Quadra is called as ATP, Authorized Training Partner. So they are commercial organization, right? Whereas chapters are non-profit organization, which means their duty is to popularize the PMI and PMI standards, and they have to enrich network and conduct seminars and webinars and enrich knowledge. Okay, that is their duty. Okay, so they are non-profit wings of PMI. They are directly appointed by PMI. Yes.
Okay. Industry professional corporations.
Yes, it should happen actually. So that's what I said in India. What happens is once you become a PMP or a PMI member, immediately your data will go into the website, right? So for example, if I am a PMP in the region, in that particular region, the PMI chapter will know that these are the PMPs, these are the PGMPs, these are the PMI members in this particular region. So what do? They send an invite. Like, we are going to conduct a seminar on this. Okay, please do attend. We are going to conduct a webinar on this, attend it. Or you can you can write books, articles, blogs, and they will initiate those things. Okay, so platform to share knowledge. Okay, they are the platform to share knowledge. Those are the PMI chapters.
CCP is not approved by.
No, CCP is from a different body, ACCI. It is not from PMI. It is a different certification body. It was originally called as CCE. Now, recently, they're calling it a CCP, Certified Cost Engineer. Now they're calling it a Certified Cost Professional. It is from ACCI. American cost certifying whatever institution. So that is a different body. So we call it like PMP is the queen of certification because many of the, I don't use king, right? It's queen, okay? Queen of certification. Okay, so because many of the certification, let's say CCP or CFM, these kind of certification have benchmarked their pattern, right? The way that they conduct the examination, the way that they associate with the testing center. So the procedure is benchmarked from PMP. Okay, so the moment you become a PMP, we have someone who have done CFM also. Who is it? Who have done the CFM Lead to take certification. Thomas, is that Thomas?
I have done CFM, but I to get the certification.
Right. So you will quickly take certification once you become a PMP because that PMP experience will help you. I'll tell you my experience. Once I become a PMP, I was able to clear a Six Sigma Black Belt in first attempt, ASQ Six Sigma Black Belt, which is usually considered as one of the toughest examination because full of statistics and one question will take 15 minutes and you have only 4 hours to complete 200 questions. And it would take a long time to, it's so difficult to, in my batch, around 12 people took it. I'm the only one who passed in the batch because of my PMP experience. Forget about Six Sigma Black Belt. I was able to cover, pass my Indian Civil Services prelims in first attempt. Because of my PMP, Indian Civil Services is considered to be the world's second toughest exam. The first toughest is French. Okay, the second toughest seems to be Indian Civil Services. I was able to do it in the first attempt because of my experience and because you know how to read the question. First of all, even without knowing the subject, you can eliminate 2 answers because that's how the mentality of the questionnaire. People who say to the question, you will understand by practicing PMP questions.
But have you appeared for mains?
No, COVID time. So I had to come back. That's why I took a break. I told you, right? That break is for the civil services, and then it prolonged. Then I had to come back. So India is safe now. Okay. So so PMP, go for PMP, get committed, and go for it. And then let's move on and talk about the PMP examination pattern. Okay. Many people, listen to me, all of you, listen to me. Many of you thinks that, or many of the professionals out there, they think that PMBOK guide, the latest edition is the syllabus for PMP. How many of you have already had that thought? Right? I mean, it is definitely,
I always think that you have to study that book for exam. But that is most toughest.
that's why you require me, okay, to interpret that. Okay, that's why I have my job. Okay, so the PMBOK guide is one of the reference guides. Like when we studied college, we had a syllabus. And to cover the syllabus, we have multiple reference guides, right? It is the same thing, right? You have a separate syllabus. Nobody, no institute know that there is a syllabus. I do not know for what reason. Or many PMP trainers also, they portray that the PMBOK guide is the syllabus. That's what they portray, right? Actually, to some extent, it was okay till the 2020 because 90% of your syllabus is covered from that guide. Okay, so it is okay. We did not mind that. But now that is not enough. Okay, so because now the syllabus have become a little complicated. So PMP syllabus is different. PMBOK guide is different thing. Okay. To emphasize that, when did PMBOK guide 7th edition came? 2021 July. When the new syllabus came, 2021 January. Okay, there are 2 different events. Updating the syllabus and updation of a PMBOK guide are 2 different events. In fact, the new syllabus have come in 2020 because of COVID. They postponed it. Otherwise, the updation was in 2020 and the book came in 2020. And there are 2 different events, right? So whenever after you become a PMP, for example, you have taken some time to do PMP, maybe for some reason 1 year you did not do PMP. Suddenly the market says that PMBOK guide new edition have come. Okay, don't panic. Only you should be worried only if your syllabus changes. You should not worry if your book changes. Do you get the point? Now, where would you find the syllabus? You can find the syllabus in pmi.org.
You can as you mentioned, like PMP is more of a traditional predictive way of.
Old syllabus was predictive project management.
So now we are like emphasizing on agile. Also.
As yes.
So is that distinctly conflictly like the multiple jobs? PMP is the main, and we are introducing agile in people. Like if you have NCQs, like.
Okay, I'll clarify that. So the old PMP is the name of the certification. Under PMP, we are going to learn project management practices. So under PMP, before 2020, the project management practices were only testing on traditional project management. For example, have you heard of work breakdown structure? Yes. Have you heard of Gantt chart? Right, most of us have heard of work breakdown structure, Gantt chart, critical path method. But these are traditional practices. Have you heard of Kanban board? IT would have heard of Kanban board. Have you heard of product backlog? Sprint backlog? Scrum Master?
That's all.
Right. So Scrum Master is nothing but the designation of a project manager who's working on a Scrum methodology, which is Agile, right? So these are new concepts, Agile concepts, right? So in the PMP, in the current PMP certification, you are going to learn the Agile practices and also the traditional practices. We will be talking about work breakdown structure, Gantt chart, critical path method, etc. And we'll also be talking about product backlog, sprint backlog, Scrum, Kanban board, burn down chart, burn up chart, so on and so forth, right? So both practices we will learn. So you will get a question either on this or on that, or 50% on this and 50% on.
But as I told, like we need to learn how to read a question.
Right.
So will there be like contradictory the concept like we can approach this thing similar situation both
Right.
Also.
Right. So they are not 100% different. Okay. Particularly when it comes to culture, in fact, whatever we are calling it as an agile culture, that is the culture that they expect in the examination. For example, a leader have to be a servant leader, says Agile Practice Guide. So servant leader in the sense, you are not like a director to your team, give them the freedom and be a servant to your team, not to the customer. Your servant leader means servant to your team, right? So this is a concept which is found in Agile. The same culture they expect in any question, whether you are working on a traditional project, construction, IT, whatsoever project, the servant leadership is a culture or a leadership style they expect from you. So certain concepts you have to, irrespective of the project type, you will be practicing that. And there are certain questions where you will see a difference, right? For example, there will be clues in the question. So if you see those clues, then you can understand, okay, I'm working on an agile project. For example, if they say you are a Scrum Master, if they say you are a Scrum Master, you are working on an agile project, right? Because that designation is in. Or sometimes they say you are working on a change-driven project. Change-driven project means agile project. I'll talk about all those things in the examination. How do you find whether it is traditional project? How do you find it is agile project? Although we say 50% of the question is from agile, 50% of the question is from traditional, it looks like culture-wise, people handling-wise, they are looking for what kind of a culture? Agile. So it may look like 60% or 70% is from agile because they are expecting what? Agile mentality, agile mindset. Because the world is becoming agile, right? So you are a project manager either in construction industry or oil and gas industry or manufacturing or IT industry. Now you have to give enough freedom to your team, right? You have to respect their opinions, right? So this culture have already come. Culture-wise, we are becoming agile, right? They are not 100% different, but there are major differences. So where you have to download your syllabus. So this is the pmi.org website. So here you have to go to certifications. Okay, and then go to project management professional. So this is the page that you will be often visiting. If you scroll down, further down. So here you can see PMP exam content outline. This is your syllabus. They call it as eco document. Eco 2021, which is the latest syllabus. So updated in 2021. So the next update will probably come by 2025.
We don't have those.
No. This is free. This is anyway, you will be receiving it.
The we transfer link.
You should have got it. You should have got this.
I think we got.
You got this already. My communication or whatever documents that I send you will be through WhatsApp, our WhatsApp group, right? So create a folder and whatever I send, please immediately download it and keep it. Because sometimes if you're unable to open a document, I have to send you the document, right? So immediately download whatever I send you. So this syllabus, the latest syllabus, consists of 3 domains. People, process, business environment. So this is how the examination the questions will come from the people side or the process side or the business environment. We'll talk about this. So from the people side, you're going to get 42% of questions. Process side, totally how many questions? No. 180. So this is latest again, 2021. 180 scored questions and 5 unscored questions. But you will not know which are those 5 unscored questions. Okay, for you, you will consider all of them as 185, right? But 180 is the scored question. So out of 180, 42% will be from people, 50% is from process, and 8% is from business environment. Now, before the update, they used to ask very less questions from people side, in the sense handling the team, right? For example, conflict resolution. This comes under people side. Team building, emotional intelligence, team performance tracking, leading the team, motivating the team. All this comes under people area. So from this area, we used to get only less than 10% of question in the past exam. So now it has increased to 42%. What does that mean? Industry requires people skills,
People management.
right? Project manager is no longer a data manager. In the olden days, project manager is like reports, creating report, consolidating data. Now we have all kind of sophisticated tools and we have people building ERPs.
Yeah.
So you don't require a project manager to work on a data. Bots are there. So if you ask like Siri, what is my project status? Okay, Siri may tell you, right? So that is now the current skill that is required with a project manager is being a people manager. Okay, so there is a quote that says that the P in PM is more of a people management rather than a task project management. So 42% of questions is going to come from the people area. Process area 50%. This is your traditional core project management like schedule management, scope management, cost management. All these areas will come under process. Leaving the people area, all the other areas, scope, schedule, cost, and risk management will all come under process area. I'll give the topics anyway. Business environment. This is also newly, it was there in the syllabus earlier, but it was hidden. They did not separately give 8% for business environment. So business environment is above the process, above the project team, right? For example, as you were saying, you create a product, okay, but it should create value, business value, right? It should be benefit, it should achieve the benefit that is intended by the customer, and it should be connected with the strategic goal of your company. So you as a project manager, although you are not a strategic manager, you are only handling the project, right? But you as a project manager now require that business sense. You require that bird's eye view on your organization, right? So my project is connected to what strategic goal. My project had to deliver what kind of a business value, right? So that is included in where? In the business environment. So in business environment, we'll talk about here where we will discuss about what is portfolio. Here where we'll discuss about who is a program manager. And you as a project manager, what is your connection between you and your program manager? What is your connection between you and your portfolio manager? What is your organization structure? How your organization structure can affect your role or power or authority, right? You as a project manager do not have all the power in the world, right? So you have constraints. So what all can constrain you, right? So those will be discussed in business environment. So this is like outside the project, the outside world of the project. Only 8% of question is dealt in business environment. This is one way to divide the exam. People, process, business environment. This is one way to divide. Another way to divide the exam is predictive and agile. Okay. For example, when you say process, scope management, let's say scope management. Scope management in traditional project, scope management in agile projects. Scheduling in predictive, scheduling in agile. Resource management in predictive, resource management in agile. Project measurement, performance measurement. Have you heard of earned value analysis? This is a technique which is used in predictive projects. Okay. Have you heard of velocity graphs? Because it is used in agile projects. Burn down chart, a performance measurement used in agile projects. So we have to divide this, particularly in the process area, we have to divide this. In the people area, we will talk about agile culture. Okay, what a leader should do, what are the team roles, what are the agile team characteristics. But even though we say these are agile team characteristics, as I told you, they are looking for that agile culture in any project. Okay, so we will be talking about particularly certain agile characteristics under the people area. So look at this, about half of the examination will represent predictive project management. So they have said about, they did not exactly say 50%, right? About half of the examination will represent predictive project management and other half will represent agile or hybrid. Hybrid means combination of predictive and agile. For example, you have, first of all, let me give you a quick understanding about what is predictive, what is agile. Okay. Anyway, we are going to have an elaborate discussion later. So if a customer says that, I want to build my villa, a 2-story villa, 5 BHK, 3,000 square feet built-up area, 1 swimming pool. This is the garden. So the customer comes up with a very clear scope. Then such a project is called as a predictive project. Okay, a project with a clear scope. Because the moment the scope is clear, obviously the customer would also expect what? The cost to be clear, right? The customer say, I will fix the price contract, lump sum contract. So I'll pay you this much. This is the scope you have to provide me, right? So if the scope, time, cost, all these constraints, they call it what? Triple constraints, right? So these constraints are very clear. You will call that project as a predictive project. Why do they call predictive? Because you can predict the cost. You can predict the scope. That's why they call it as predictive project. So you will have a concrete, you would have heard this term baselining, right? Yeah. What is baseline?
Milestones. Baseline.
What is a baseline?
Actually, it's the program of starting to
Gantt chart.
Baseline, yeah, Gantt chart.
Actually, we have scope baseline, schedule baseline, cost baseline. Your Gantt chart is your schedule baseline, right? So baseline is nothing but an approved concrete plan. I repeat, approved concrete reference plan. Okay, is what you call as baseline. So if you can freeze the plan, okay, then what are you doing? Your baseline. If you freeze the Gantt chart, that's your schedule baseline. If you freeze your work breakdown structure and your scope statements, that is your scope baseline. If you're freezing your cost estimates and your cash flow, cash inflow, that is your cost baseline, right? So these are the baselines, but usually you refer to Gantt chart because that's what it drives the team. Okay, we are calling it as what? What did you write? Approved,
A concrete.
concrete, what plan? Reference plan.
Reference.
Who refers it?
Project.
Project manager and the executing team, right? So the execution team, how do they know what should I do today? They will go to the Gantt chart. What should I do tomorrow? They will go to the Gantt chart. So the quality team, how do they know what should I inspect? They will go to the Gantt chart. Okay, today these works are over. I have to inspect this, right? So that's why, as we are always referring to the Gantt chart, we are calling it that as a baseline. But Gantt chart is only one of the baseline. That's a schedule baseline. So it is a reference plan. So who is referring it? Executing team, right? And who else will refer it? Monitoring and controlling team. How do I know the deviation? So if you, what is meant by variance?
Difference between the
Plan and the actual. So you have to have a plan, then only you can find the variance. If you do not have a concrete plan, how do you find the variance, right? So anybody who is evaluating the performance of the project, what do? They look at the variance. For the variance, they will compare the baseline with the actuals. For example, you have a baseline start date and end date, and you will have an actual start date and end date. You have a baseline cost, and you will have an actual cost. So that difference will give you the variance, right? So it is a reference plan for the executing team, and it is a reference plan for the monitoring and controlling team, right? The project controller and the project manager, right? All of them will refer to this baseline, right? So that baselining is possible in which project? Predictive project. When the scope is clear, then only you can have that baseline. But in an agile project, the scope is not clear. The customer says that I want a ERP solution, okay? And we ask the customer that what kind of features do you want? I can't tell you now. We have to explore. We have to have a discussion with our team. Okay, and then you had a discussion, one round, second round. Then you are not very clear, like you cannot exactly say what features, right? So the scope is evolving in nature, right? So such a project is called as what? Agile project. Most of the time, the intangible outputs, like a software is an intangible output, or a knowledge. For example, if I'm creating a training manual, then that's an intangible, although manual is a tangible, but anyway, knowledge is intangible, right? Or if I consulting services, they are intangible. So these kind of projects, wherever there's an intangible output, agile, you do a lot of refining, you will go back, come back, go back, and come back. When you do, a lot of refining is required. When you have to evolve the scope, when you cannot force your customer to tell the clear scope. Even if you force the customer to give a clear scope, the customer will again come back and no, I changed my mind. Okay, so if that is the nature of your project, you will call it as agile project. Agile project is otherwise called as adaptive, agile or adaptive. Adaptive, adapting what? Changes. Adaptive to changes. Okay, take the changes. So if you're working on a predictive project, you will have a change hours attitude. I don't want change because I have spent hours and hours in baselining. The last thing that I want is change in this. If we have a change in this baseline, I have to communicate some 1,000 members about the change. I don't want that. So if you have a change hours attitude, probably you're working on a predictive project because you have spent a lot of time in planning in the beginning. But if you are forced to have, or by nature, if you have a change welcoming attitude towards your project, the customer says, I want this. Okay, let me go back and check how to do this. If that is the approach, then you are working probably on an agile project. Of course, not only, only telling you the major difference. So if you have to have an agile project, your practices have to be different. You can't have a baseline. Agile projects don't believe in baselining, right? Because they can't have baseline. So they will talk about something called as iteration planning. What do you mean by iteration? Repetition. Cycle, right? One repetition is called as one iteration, right? So they will go in cycles. So cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3, cycle 4. Cycle 1, they will come back and call for feedback, do the refinement. Cycle 2, they'll go for a feedback, do the refinement, right?
Okay, and one note for agile, if the scope is not clear, how will they fix the contract?
Exactly, they don't fix the contract. They will have an evolving contract. Have you heard of SLAs, MSAs? Service level agreement and MSAs, master services agreement. That is the nature of contract labor. Okay, that's a very valid question. And in fact, you would have heard about, forget about this MSAs. You have the cost reimbursable contract. They'll go for the cost reimbursable contract or a T&M contract. We will talk about this, or we will talk about contract types later. Okay.
Basically, agile can be applied for.
So come again, please.
Agile method can be applied for.
Cannot or can?
Cannot.
It can. That's why we are. That's why they have introduced agile in the general PMP. Okay, because as it has become a common approach. You're yet to hear all these terms. You're yet to use, but soon you will see and you will be ahead at that time. Okay, and now there are a lot of papers which are coming in agile in construction. If you a lot of research papers. Now you take a. We have become IT enabled, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. We are building smart homes, right? And we are using building information modeling, right? We are using ArchiCAD's Revit architecture, all so which gives you walkthrough effects. You can refine the customer requirements, isn't it? And let's say currently, I would say construction have become a hybrid project because some phases of construction is agile, some phases of construction is predictive. In this case, what has become is the construction have become now a hybrid project. For example, the feasibility study phase or the design phase. So in this phase, we are becoming agile. Okay, and then the construction phase, we are becoming probably predictive. And even in that, some parts are becoming agile. For example, we are not freezing everything like in the past. Like 20 years before, the customer will not have any customization to do. Now the customer is choosing this kind of a tile, this kind of a roof, or this kind of eco-friendliness, this kind of they're saying energy efficient. The moment energy efficiency comes into picture, all the extra fittings comes into picture, and that will be discussed only at the later stage. Those scope are not fixed in the beginning, right? So even in the construction phase, we are becoming what a little agile have come. And once 3D printing comes into picture, okay, then we will become more agile, right? And anyway, as of now, construction is kind of little construction phase is probably predictive. Again, commissioning phase.
I think like in the solar plant,
Mhm.
they are trying something new, like save the solar energy for in the night time. When you are doing something new, first time in UAE, the contract is like that because you don't know the
Absolutely.
or exact how.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. When the changes are becoming less costly, okay, then also we will become more agile. So when you're doing something novel, something and in the olden days, let's say before World War to 1970s, okay, till this time, like we lived with one model of Ambassador car for 50 years, right? So we did not have these varieties earlier. So we were more predictive only. Till IT industry came, till the internet era, which is 1990s, till that we were not having these many varieties, and there was no LPG also. What is LPG? Liquidization, privatization, globalization. Till this LPG concept, was popularized in the in the second world and third world countries. So we were only happy with our local products. Now exports, imports, and the FDIs, all these have increased. So we require variety. We require our customization. So when we require more and more customization, we can't do one variety. Mass production is not possible. So immediately what will happen, this innovation will become, almost every project will become innovative. So when every project becomes innovative, you require agile. You cannot, the customer cannot say, I have a fixed schedule, but I want innovation. That's not possible, right? Yes, that is also possible, but then we have to adjust the scope. The customer comes up with a fixed budget, then scope have to be adjusted. The customer comes up with a, no, I want a luxurious project, then you have to be flexible in your cost. So somewhere the customer have to be flexible if they wanted customization. So obviously, like when you take a ready-made cloth, then you would pay, what is the amount that you're paying. And you know that you have to fit into that Excel, a large, medium, whatsoever. You will, but if you want a tailor-made one, you have to pay for that, right? So that's what agile is more tailor-made. Okay, if a customer is looking for a tailor-made solution. So these are the two approaches. So we cannot say that this industry is following only agile, this industry is following only predictive. We cannot generalize that. At least for the examination, please do not generalize it. Sometimes they give you that, play that trick. You are working on an IT company. Maybe in an IT company also, if a customer is coming up with a clear requirement, what is it? It's a predictive project. So by looking at the industry, don't come to a conclusion. Okay, read the whole question to come to a conclusion, right? So, you are going to, you can divide the examination either as predictive or as agile or hybrid. Okay, if you have, we are not going to separately discuss hybrid. Predictive practices, agile practices, if both are practiced in a single project, it is called as hybrid, as simple as that. So this is your new syllabus. I see some chat questions here. Can you please repeat the people in class questions if there are? We cannot. Okay, fine, sure. Right, I will do that, Mr. Mohammed. Matthew, you said hi. Do you have a question? True. Okay.
No, it's the same. I mean, we cannot hear the people.
I repeat the question. Okay, sure, I'll repeat it. So the question earlier, which was, I was explaining predictive and agile because there was a question about how different predictive and agile is. Alright. So let us see some topics under. So this is people area, right? So let us look at the topics here. Can you read it from now?
Yeah.
So manage conflict management, leadership, leading the team, supporting team's performance, empowering the team, training the team, okay, team building, removing impediments or obstacles or blockers, negotiating team agreements with the team and other stakeholders, collaborating with the stakeholders, build the shared understanding, engage and support virtual teams, define the ground rules of the team, okay, mentoring, emotional intelligence, right? These are some of the topics given under people area, right? And then when you look at process area, business value, how to deliver business value delivery, communication management. Although communication management, we will discuss this as a part of people, okay, risk management, stakeholder engagement will repeat in 2 areas. So we will complete all of them under people area, budget management, schedule management, quality management, scope management, integrating all those areas, integration, handling changes, procurement, handling your suppliers, handling procurement, project artifacts. Artifacts are nothing but important documents, project methodology, project governance, issue log, knowledge management, managing knowledge, closing the project. Okay, they are not in logical order. Okay, we can't see this in this order. Okay, we will be having a different order. Okay. And then business environment, compliance, project benefit to the business level benefits, internal and external business environmental factors, organizational level change that includes cultural changes, structural changes. Only 4 topics are under business. Business environment is a very small topic. In fact, we will start with business environment. Okay, in the next class, we'll start with the business environment, and then we will move into people, and then we will move into process. Okay. Any questions as of now? Do you require a break?
I could relate this business environment process with ITIL because ITIL, I could see most of the concepts which is there in this business environment.
Right, that's right. Not only that, even in process, change management.
Okay.
Change management is also more relevant to the ITIL process. Configuration management, change management is more of ITIL.
What is the pass mark for?
Nobody knows.
Is it?
Yes, nobody knows.
So that is in the new term, right? After 20.
No.
Even
Like 20, like before I did my examination, they used to say that the PMI disclosed the pass mark. But now they don't disclose. Right from when I took my examination, they are not disclosing the pass mark. Once upon a time it was 60%, and then it became 65%. It became 80% one time, and then like that it changed. So what we can understand is pass mark is definitely not less than 60%. pass mark is definitely not more than 70%. As per the current, because when they increased it to 80%, many failed. Okay, then what did they do? They reduced it. Okay, so and then after because there was a lot of comments, feedbacks about the pass mark, so they said that okay, let us not disclose. Okay. Right, because because they do a last year they'll take an average mark scored by the people, and they will keep above average as the pass mark. Okay, that's how they do. So definitely they have a ceiling limit also. To our understanding, the ceiling limit is 70%. And how do we know that? Of course, like ATPs who will have some conversation. Of course, in our meetings also, PMI will never disclose anything. They will not disclose whichever is not necessarily to be disclosed. Saying to an ATP is equivalent to saying to a man. Nowadays, men are also gossiping, you know. So they don't disclose. But what do they do is, you take any mock simulator, like a Rita's simulator, it is a popular simulator, right? Many simulators, if you see, PM, Cast, these are popular simulators. They keep pass marks as 70%. Okay, they never. So if you score anything less than 70%, it shows you need improvement. Okay, so with that understanding, aim for 70%. So what is 70% out of 180? Around let's say 140. Okay, keep a buffer. Okay, around keep 140 at least. Yeah, 126. Then keep 130, 135 as your target. 135 questions are right. If you include that unscored question also, because you do not know whether what is a scored and unscored, right? So keep that also inside. So aim for 135 correct. 135 right. Okay. No negative marks. No penalty for doing wrong. Okay. So which means do not miss any question. Sometimes after the break, I will talk about the interface. Okay, how the interface will look like. What are the options you have, etc. How do you take your examination, etc. Right? So we'll have 10 minutes. So now the time is 10:30 in this computer. Is this the right time? I mean, is it 10:30? So let's start the discussion, because during the break I heard many of you asking me about application process. Right? So let me start that discussion. Okay. Right. There are 3 steps in your application. First, you have to fill the application, right? Your application is open for 90 days, which means you have to first create a login in the pmi.org website. And then once you create the login, you can go to the certification, PMP certification, and you can say apply now, right? So of course, people here in Quadra Plus will be assisting you in that process. Okay. So in the application, they would primarily ask for 3 important details. So the detail number 1 is your original education, your qualification, like whether you're a bachelor's degree or a master degree or less than bachelor's whatsoever. Whenever you give your information about your degree, ensure that you give exactly the date given in your degree certificate. So the completion day or month and year, okay, whatsoever mentioned there, give the same month and year. And then give your college name or institute name properly and without any spelling errors, etc. And even when you're filling your name, look at your identity card, okay, national ID card or passport, whichever you're going to show during your examination. Ensure there is no errors, okay. So if you have changed the name, as long as whatever is in your ID, that will, because if your name is different, they will not allow you for the examination.
How
okay?
would the degree certificate, because there, if it is Nandakumar N, here it is Nandakumar Natesh.
No, that is not a problem, because in the education, you will only give the college name. The original name is your passport name or your national ID name, right? So in the education details, you will not again mention your name. You will only mention your name of the institution and name of the degree and the specialization. That's it. Okay, so give a proper detail. And this is a very small part. The big part is your experience part. This is where you will spend a lot of time. Usually in your CV, how do you provide your experience?
Yeah.
Company wise,
Yeah.
right? Company wise. But here, if you will not give company wise, here you have to give project wise. Okay, so first of all, so because you should have how many months? 36 months of project, assuming that everybody have got at least a bachelor's, assuming that 36 months, otherwise it is 60 months. So you have to give project by project. For example, I will write project 1. Okay, and project 1, I have to write the name of the project. It is your interpretation.
So when you are filling online, the fields it will.
Yes, it will show. It will be like that.
Project one.
Right. No. If you have, for example, one project you did it for 36 months,
Yeah.
3-year project,
Yeah,
then you don't have to show the second project.
yeah.
So only if you have got smaller projects, 1 year or less than 1 year, then you have to, till you achieve that 36 months, it will count. Okay, so if you don't, if already 36 months are given, then that is it. You can't give more. Okay, so you cannot give, it will automatically stop you.
So if there are overlapping projects.
Yeah,
for example, it is,
I'm going to answer all those. Okay. So project 1 and then the name of the project. Okay, and then the start month and year, and then the end month and year. Okay. So when you give start month and year and end month and year, ensure that you avoid overlapping projects. Okay. Because how many months? 36 months. 36. Earlier they used to say 4,500 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, now they have made it like 36 months to simplify it. So when you say I worked for 1 month, so whether you work on 2 projects or 1 project, you still worked for 1 month only, right? So avoid overlapping projects. Don't show 2 projects on the, even if you have done overlapping, avoid that overlapping month. At least overlapping months you avoid. Otherwise, we have to reduce our chance of being picked up for audit. Okay, so audit is not for everybody. Audit is only randomly, they say randomly picked, but there should be some algorithm behind. Okay, so try to escape that audit. Okay, so avoid overlapping months. And then you will only declare the months. For example, when you say from January to December I worked, you will only say whether it is 12 months or 8 months, because there is a possibility there were 2 months break. Okay, so you will only declare it here. It will not automatically count. And then here comes the importance, description. So you have to give a description. There are some stipulated characters. I think now they have said earlier there used to be very less space for that. Now they are giving more space for that. So in the description, what you have to write is, you have to first write 2 lines about your project. What is the output of your project? What is the difference between output and outcome? What is the output of this training?
35 videos.
35 videos. Completion of people, process, and business environment. What is the outcome of this training? Training for you achieving the PMP certification, or you, whatever is your learning outcome, you achieve that. He learns the terminologies and he learns the best practices, and you learn the, whatever is your learning objective, you achieve that, right? That's the difference between output, and output is deliverables. So deliverables in the sense, the training manual that you get, the certificate you get, these are all deliverables. Those are outputs. And what you achieve, the benefit that you arrive is called as outcome. So in the description, you have to write both outputs and outcomes. Maybe 2 lines about outputs and then 1 line about outcome. Okay, what is the ultimate benefit that you or your customer achieved? This is only 2 or 3 lines maximum. The rest of it, the rest of the description box should talk about what did you do in this project. Okay, so for example, and I have conducted a kickoff meeting. I have collected the requirements from the stakeholders. I prepared the requirement documentation. I facilitated the preparation of work breakdown structure. I was a part of conducting status meetings, and we measured and updated the dashboards. Okay, so it is like your role on the project. Particularly when you talk about your role, you have to talk about what did you do in initiating of a project. In the description, you will talk about initiating. What the next stage? Planning, then and closing. Right? So you have to disclose your, you have to put your responsibility in all these areas. In fact, with the heading is better. So what did you do in initiating? What did you do in planning? What did you do in executing? What did you do in controlling and closing? And use the PMI terms. Okay. How do you know it? When you know the when you do the training, you'll know that, right? In fact, we will be discussing what are the initiating processes, what are the planning activities, right? So use similar kind of a term. And also ensure that you discuss about working with cross-functional arrangement. Let's say you coordinated with the design team, develop team, or building team. You coordinated with quality team. Okay, so mention somewhere like, you know, you worked with cross-functional arrangement. Okay, that you have to mention. And also remember, try to avoid the word operations as much as possible. Yes, you can say operations, but try to, your role should not look like, for example, for people who are like sales particularly, please ensure that if you can give an alternative designation, like instead of a sale, if you want to give like something like a business analyst or a customer, whatever. So, you know, right, what manager? Success. Okay. So whatever designation, because the point here is, in the recent past, not in the recent past, like let's say in the previous cases, PMI got a lot of applications from operations people, like sales people, because the PMP popularity have increased, right? So everybody who are in operations, like operations engineer, manufacturer, operators, right? They have also started applying for PMP, but PMP is originally for. So to control that, of course, you can do that. In operations also you do projects, right? So that is, it is not that those designations are not allowed. They can do it. But the only thing is, you should not explicitly show like you're into operations. Okay, so try to slightly beat around the bush. Okay. So that is one thing. These are the reasons why your application will be picked up for audit. And in the past, they used to agree for degree projects, I mean academic projects. Okay, but now it is not allowed. Okay, so when I did my PMP, I was only 2 years experience, just entered into an organization. So I showed my academic projects, like I did an internship, I did another survey kind of a consumer behavior project and all. So PMI agreed for it because at that time there was no restriction. But now PMI have clearly stated academic projects are not allowed. Okay, it should be, and not your personal project. You you constructed a house for yourself. You conducted a wedding ceremony. Okay, I recently entered into a wedlock. That was a project and all. So those personal projects in the past they were agreeing for all those things. Okay, but now there is a clear restriction. It should be a professional environment in a professional environment. So this is where you have to take essential care. If possible, take a sample from them. Okay, take a sample and look at the sample, approved sample, and look at it and then go for it. Any questions here?
They have to mention the cost.
Pardon? Yes. Recently, what they have introduced a 3 more field: the team size, the budget of the project, and what methodology do you follow. Waterfall means predictive or agile or hybrid. Okay. Anyway, which means they try to filter it because you should know these before you come for the PMP. That's why they try to filter that. Anyway, we will They can't authenticate it, okay? But if you don't want to disclose the cost, there is a column. There's an option, unclassified. So if you don't want to disclose, it's okay. But you can, then you can. There is a range given.
Cost of the project value.
Yes, project value.
Millions, for example, based on that cost, they may come.
So they would have given like less than $1 million. 1 million to 10 million, kind of.
What kind of project?
That is not mandatory also. You can simply say unclassified. Okay. If you have a large value project, please mention that. Okay. Otherwise, don't mention. No, they have not. There is no such. No need of client. You don't want to explicit, show the client. No, that's not required. It's only your choice if you want to inform it in the description. Any other question?
Yeah.
Let me repeat it for people who are online. So somebody has asked, do they have to give the client name? Not required. Do they have to give the budget? Yes, there is a column for budget, but it is your choice if you don't want to disclose it. Yes, guys online. Yes, any
Yes,
questions?
yeah, one question here. What about ongoing projects? We can mention it also.
You can select, but show the previous month. But if you think that you can avoid that latest project, which is not yet closed, but in spite of that, if you can show 36 months, then why do you want to show an unclosed project? If you are not meeting that 36 months without your current project, then show the closing as the previous month. Okay. Also remember one more thing. You should show the project in the last 8 years. Okay. Not the previous. In the last 8 years. You can have a gap, not a problem. You can have a gap between one project and another project, not a problem. But the project should start from the latest the last 8 years. So start from the latest project.
How they will check the genuinity of what we are doing?
I'm going to talk about that.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
In ERP solution, let's say the company requirement is to implement 10 different modules.
Right.
So what we do, let's say that in 2018, I have completed 4 modules.
Right.
And then in between, company don't want the remaining modules to be implemented.
Right.
So gap of 1.5 years.
It is only implementation or development.
Is only implementation.
Which means you have developed everything earlier.
Yeah, earlier it was developed. No, but only to the certain modules, since it is agile concept. So certain 3-4 modules, it was already developed and it was delivered.
Another 4 modules were developed later and then showed us another project. Okay, so
okay.
But
Phase 1,
phase 1, phase 2, like
okay.
that. What was the gap between that first?
I can say 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
If it is only few months, then you can show and reduce the months. As such as 2 years, show it as 2 different
Projects. So.
All right. Okay. Now let me also finish what is the third one, and then I'll talk about this audit process. So you give the experience details, and what is the third detail? Project management education details. Okay, see a question here. How they are going to check if you really did this work or yes, I will be talking about the same question. I've come here in the live class as well. I'll talk about that. Okay, first let us finish this project management education. So certificate that you get from Quadra Plus. Please look at the exact course name. Okay, and then look at the exact end date. Okay, and then only fill this. Okay, because your end date should not be a later date and your submission date should not be a earlier date. Correct? Also remember that. For example, you're going to finish the course on today. You should not submit your application yesterday, right? Because this should be over to this eligibility criteria, right? So be aware of that. So certificate from Quadra Plus, not necessarily if you have already done some other project management education, you can even show that. But it's always better to show it from an ATP, authorized training partner, so that your probability of audit will be less. Right, so these are the 3 important details. Other than that, you will have some other details, but these are the 3 important details. So now, how do they authenticate? Okay, the only way that they can control is by audit. Not all the applications are picked up for audit. It is, PMI says that it is a computer generated random audit. Okay, so if your application is picked up for audit, there could be no reason. You can ask the reason to PMI. It is a random audit. But I don't think so. There should be some algorithm at the back. Okay, because my application was picked up for audit when I had only less experience. So I think that the probability of picking up for audit if you have less experience is high, and the probability of picked up for audit if you show some operational related designations. Okay, so at one point of time during 2012, I think on those days, there was some scam in Hyderabad. The CCNA certificate has scam. So that became a big news. So at that time, whoever says Hyderabad, their application was picked up for audit, okay, in their demographic details. So there should be some algorithm at the back. So what do they do in the audit? If your application is picked up for audit, don't panic, it's very simple. You have to submit some documents, some artifacts. First of all, you have to submit your photocopy of your or upload. Now it is becoming on. Earlier it used to, you have to physically ship it to Pennsylvania, but now it is online. So you have to give your degree qualification certificate, your bachelor's degree copy, and then Quadra Plus certificate that you get from Quadra Plus, that copy, QP for Quadra Plus. Okay, and then the experience. Now what happens is, when your application is picked up for audit, they would ask for some references, or sometimes, so they are changing this. Sometimes they ask in the application itself, sometimes only if it is picked up for audit, they will call for it. So you have to give somebody's name who have worked with you in that project. Your boss, super boss, that client, anybody who is related, who you have some touch, okay? So give their name, their email ID, and their phone number. So they will receive a mail from PMI. So in that mail, what do they receive is whatever you have filled, right? So you have filled like project 1, some description, project 2, some description, the same file will go to them. So they have to say, yes, I agree. Yes, I know this person. I agree that he worked on the similar role, right? He has to just say a check and a digital signature. Digital signature is just, he has to type his name. And then this will automatically go to PMI, that's all. Okay, so only these 3 things, if you are able to do, you will pass the audit. Okay. But in addition to that, if your application is picked up for audit, this is what you have to do. Sometimes what do? Even if they don't pick your application for audit, sometimes what do? They may say that this particular section do not have enough elaborated. Or particularly when you do a course from a non-ATP, they may ask like, what is the learning objective of this course? Give me the course content. Okay, so likewise, some questions, if they find something fishy, they may ask for it. Okay, otherwise, if you properly answer that, nothing happens. Also remember that once it is picked up for audit, again and again it will be picked up for audit. For example, some students may think that your application is picked up for audit. They did not do the audit procedure, they just left like that. The application expired. The application will expire after 1 year. Okay, if you have submitted your application today, it will expire in 1 year. So they thought that, okay, after 1 year, they're again restarting the application. So PMI have your audit history. So this application was picked up for audit, but the audit procedure was not over. This is in the history. So when you again submit your application, it will definitely be picked up for audit. Okay, unless and until you forge your identity, okay, and it doesn't work. Okay, that level, right? Because this is not a bigger audit, right? That's it. So again, if you ask me that how do they know that person is the real person and all, no answer for that. Okay, they believe you. Okay. So anyway, you're going to sign a document which is the code of ethics document, code of ethics and professional conduct document, which is, so as a part of your application, you will check that and agree to it. So PMI have all the rights to file a legal case if any identity is forged. Probably once you apply for a PMP and once you start talking about PMP in any social media, you may probably get a call, probably from Bangalore, saying that we will write your exam. Did anybody have already got the call? Already got the call? Don't entertain them. I've already paid anything to them. Okay, so some are taking huge sum and are passing the exam also. And of course, all your examinations is recorded by the PMI. Okay, and they randomly pick and see the recording, right? If there is anything fishy, there would be a legal suit, and forever that person cannot become a PMP. And number two, there are certain cases where they did the exam, they are blackmailing that student. Okay, so these cases are also there. Okay. Blackmailing means we will say your identity, we will disclose your forge, whatever you did.
With video
Okay,
recording.
with video recording.
I-
So you now know, you now understand the importance of. No, I mean the importance of PMP. So there is another black market for PMP, which means that the popular PMP is. Okay, that is to confirm the popularity of that exam.
Some people are taking money and they just vanish and then.
Yeah, all
Cash
cases.
us.
So it is anyway, so if you have a lot of black money, yes, you can indulge in those black practices. Okay, anyway. So that is about any questions now in application. Pardon? You can fill it anytime you want, but pardon? You cannot submit it. You can start your application anytime you want. Actually, there is a person here by the name Danny. So you will contact him, and usually your coordinators will guide you towards the end of the course. What should be done next? So they will give you an Excel template. So you will fix in the, you will first fill the Excel template, and then they will verify. Okay, is all the details okay? Okay, now you can fill. So it would be easy, you know. They will validate it. Pardon? Yes, yes, it is okay, right. But fill it and fix the date. Then only you will be committed. All right. So now we spoke about how do you fill your application. I mean, this is your application process, right? And now, once you fill your application, you're submitting it to PMI, right? So application and exam. So once you prepare your application, let's say that your application have escaped the audit and it directly got a message approved. If it is picked up for audit only after you complete your audit procedure, which will usually take 10 days, and then only you will get an approval message. Only after approval you will pay for the exam fee. How much is the exam fee?
$500.
555.
Okay, if you are a member, $405. What is the membership fee?
129.
139. $10 for the application fee. Okay. So 130. So if you want to become a member, you have to pay $139 to become a member. It's an annual membership. Next year, if you want to renew it, you can renew it. Otherwise, you can leave it. Don't give auto renewal. Okay. So be aware of that. And then, if you're not a member, non-member, the fee is $555. Sorry, $555. Okay, $555. Nowadays they are including tax. Earlier there don't to be any tax. Now there's a 5% tax also. Okay, so you're not losing any money by becoming a member, isn't it? So become a member. So at least you can download all those standards. So after 1 year, if you don't want to become a member, it's fine. You can retire that. I mean, you can keep it expired. So consider this one, okay, membership. But you have to. So if you want to become a member, what you do is the day on which you are submitting your application, on that day you become a member. Okay, because by the time you get an approval for your application, your membership will be confirmed such that you will get your discount. Do you understand?
No.
You're submitting your application today. Okay, so today you become a member. We'll pay $139. So if you pay $139, it will take 2 or 3 days, right, to get your confirmation and all, right? And your application will get approved in probably 5 business days. So by the time your application gets approved, by the time your membership gets approved, all will be in the same time. So such that when your application is approved, your membership, your exam fee will become $405. Usually it will be immediate, but sometimes it will take some delay. Okay. So So become a member, submit your application and get it approved and pay your examination fee, which is $405. Okay. And then, so once you pay, once you complete your payment confirmation, PMI will send you an ID, some PMI identification number. With this PMI ID, listen to me, with this PMI ID, you have to go to another website, which is called as Pearson View website. Who are they? Prometric Center. No, Pearson View. Prometric is a different testing center. Pearson View, earlier PMI was connected with Prometric. Prometric is a brand for testing center. So now they are connected with Pearson View. This is another brand for testing centers, right? So PMI don't directly conduct tests. They conduct it through Pearson View, right? So you will go to Pearson View and you will give your identification number there. You will get all clear email. The moment you pay, you will get an email from PMI what to be done next. So you will be very clear about that. But let me tell you this. So Pearson View, you go to the Pearson View and you will schedule your examination. So now, where do you take your exam? You can go to the Pearson View testing centers, or now you can take it from home. Okay, so after COVID, they have introduced this option. Okay, you can either take it from home or you can take it from a Pearson View testing center. But when you are taking it from home, it is a remotely, completely proctored exam, which means there is somebody who's going to be an invigilator who will be watching you in the webcam. Okay, and throughout the examination, and you have to write the examination. Even if your webcam is off for even a minute, they will give you one warning, your examination will be terminated. Okay, if your mic is not working, even they are asking for a question, you're not answering, terminated. If somebody is talking, terminated. If somebody is knocking at your door continuously, they tell you what is the sound, your kid is not listening to you, terminated. And then before the examination, like half an hour or 1 hour before the examination, there would be a person who will be checking your room, the room that you're going to take the examination. You have to show the ceiling, you have to show the floor, where is the door, where is the TV, remove all the cable, or try to move your television. If there is a television there, no need of moving, like, you have to, if you do any changes, after the checking is verified, they will take photographs, right? So even if there was no wall clock, you have some reason you put the wall clock there, you cannot, you have to take the approval again. Okay, you should not do any changes in that room. Okay, so that is a strictly invigilated exam. You can't turn your head and all. They would say that, why are you turning your head? Look at the computer. Okay, you cannot mumble. This happened with one of my students. Usually, to concentrate, you will read the question, right? So slowly, right? So they said that don't read the question because maybe you're having headset reading it to somebody, right? So they said that don't open your mouth, and they gave second warning. Probably out of unconsciously he did that. They terminated the exam. Fortunately, he passed even after leaving 30 questions. Trained by me. Right? So, but now.
But still they will evaluate because since he has.
It went for it's an automatic evaluation.
Oh.
Okay. So it automatically goes for evaluation. But leaving 30 questions and passing is not a small thing to happen, right?
I had a similar experience when I was doing my exam for the Princeton. It was through home, and it so happened that there was something wrong. It was technical glitch with the Wi-Fi in the house. My exam got stopped. Okay, and I finished out of 40 questions. I finished around 20, and my all questions were right. In fact, I was very confident that I was through, but it froze, and my screen also froze. That's an internet issue. Okay, and I was like, worried, yeah. And then I had to request that proctor. Basically, you have to write them email, and they are watching you, so they are absolutely knowing what you are doing.
Right.
And they were watching me, so they gave me a fresh exam code, so that because the proctor confirmed saying that yes, there was a glitch, you were not able to continue. So I had to rewrite. But yeah, it was like a hassle. So
of course, you can appeal to PMI. You can first appeal to Pearson View, and if they say that no, the case is we can't do anything about it, then you have to appeal to the PMI. Yes, but it's again a very sitting for 3.5 hours and again taking the examination. It's not
The chemistry was there, it was just 1 or 40 questions that time, but it was a hassle.
right. So you can schedule your examination and you can go to the Pearson View Center directly if you don't want to take all those pressure. Otherwise, you can take it from home as well, right? The result is immediate. Okay, so few minutes,
Home
few
or
seconds.
any isolated place.
Any isolated place, yes. Office. Remember one more thing. Remember, if at all you are taking it from office, ensure that you have admin rights for your laptop because you may have to install certain softwares, right? So because it records your screen activity, so you ensure that there's no firewall that is forbidding you, etc. Because those softwares are installed just before the examination, right? Certain softwares will be installed before the examination. Certain softwares have been installed just before the examination. So ensure that you have admin rights.
Better to give it in any of the testing centers.
Testing center. Rest is-
Men in washroom, where you spend a lot of time. No? Maybe you can take it in washroom, right? Right. You tried that also. All right, now let's talk about our exam result. Okay. Fortunately, you will not get like you are a first class PMP. Not like that, right? You are a PMP because becoming a PMP itself requires 70%, right? So obviously you are a first class.
So they used to give some gold medal.
Not gold medal, it's a badge. You're right. They used to give a badge. But till when I was there, yes, they gave me a badge, a physical badge. But now you have a digital badge. True. I used to wear that in my meetings and all. Okay, because on those days my company had only one PMP, my business head. The next was me. So he used to wear the badge and come. So that's when I got respect in my company. Okay, so now it is a digital badge. The good thing in digital badges, there is a link. So if someone clicks, you can post it in the LinkedIn, in your email signature and everything. If you click on that badge, it takes it to a particular website. It says that when did you do your PMP, what is your identification number, and it also, if at all you are not renewing your PMP, it shows that the PMP is inactive. Okay, like that. Okay, or expired, right?
Every year we have to review.
3 years once. I will be talking about renewal process now. Do we have time? Yes. So coming to the examination, you will get the examination result immediately, and you will see it in 48 hours maximum. You will see it in your login, in your dashboard, that your certificate. You can take a printout of that. You can use advertise your PMP, okay, everywhere. Put it in resume, put it in your business card, everywhere, okay. And then they will give the status like this. So you've got 3 domains, right? People, process, and business environment. So they will show like below target, target, above target. Okay, so you can see that. So it is not necessary that you have to get to target or above target in all the areas. Okay, so it is totally 70%. That's all. So sometimes a person may take below target in business environment, but still it will be you will still be a PMP. But someone have got below target in people area, very less chance, because 42% question is from people area. So if someone have got below target in people or process, there's a very less chance that this person would pass. Otherwise, there is, and it doesn't come in your certificate, just a supplementary copy. It's just for your personal copy. It doesn't show in the certificate. You will have a unique PMI ID, identification number. Okay, so this is, so anybody puts that PMI ID, so they can see your name in the website, in the PMI website, that you are a PMP. When did you acquire it? Even if they put your last name, because your last name is not usually very unique, right? Yeah. So first name and last name, if they put in the PMI website, they can see whether somebody is a PMP or not. Okay, this is to authenticate that PMP. What else?
What is the renewal?
Before that, there is something else to be told. Anything else that comes to your mind? Okay, now when you are writing the examination, particularly in home, okay, no papers allowed, no gadgets allowed. Usually, sometimes they allow for mobile phone because you will be contacting the invigilator with the mobile phone, but you can't talk and all. You should not see your mobile and all, because sometimes when they are unable to reach you, they may call you on the mobile. So, but you have to clarify with the invigilator whether the mobile phone alone is allowed or not, just to communicate with. Otherwise, it is usually no gadgets allowed, no calculators allowed, no beverages. I mean, coffee also, okay, the beverage. So no beverages allowed. So you will have a break. Okay, so what is the total time for the exam? 230 minutes. Just 3 hours and 50 minutes. Okay, 3 hours and 50 minutes plus 2 10 minutes break. You cannot use the break time for the exam. You can either take your break or leave the break, but definitely take the break. Sitting for 230 minutes or 4 hours approximately is not easy. That too with a full concentration, right? So, for example, you have got 180 questions, right? So, let's say in 4 hours, you divide it into 3 parts. What is the first part? 60 minutes? No, not the questions. The time. Let's say approximately 1.5 hours. So, in the 1.5 hour at that time, that would be a pop-up, right? This is your break time. You can skip your break, you can postpone your break, or you can take your break. But if you're taking your break, ensure that you finish the questions, because you will not see the question once you come back. Whatever questions you're going to see it before the break will not be there after you come from the break. It will go for valuation. So complete the questions, then only take your break. You get the point? Similarly, when you go for before you go for the second break, finish the questions, go for the break, and then come back. Answer the questions. Yes. Sometimes people say that if you mark it for review, there is a button called as mark it for review. Okay, if you mark it for review, you can see those questions alone. Some students tell me this, but I'm not sure about that. So even if you mark it for review, ensure that whatever that comes to your mind at that point of time as an answer that and mark it for review. Even if you're going to mark it for review, any question, any point of time, answer. Some, like at that time, whatever comes to your mind is the right answer that and then only mark it, because you may not have time to go back, right? So there is no penalty anyway, negative marks. At least let it go for some valuation, right? Any questions here? So during the break, again, ensure that all your arrangements are proper. You don't change anything. You have to show your table also in your workstation also. So that workstation don't add anything, add any little mistake also don't do. Okay, that's it. Fine.
What do you recommend doing this?
See, earlier in the beginning when they introduced the home-based exam, there were a lot of glitches. But now it is not a big deal. Home-based, as long as you have a fairly good internet connection. Of course, you will be doing the test, your speed test, your mic test, your webcam test, and all will be done using the software. Then only you will start the exam. Not a big deal. I mean, it's better to take it from home as long as you have a peaceful home.
This 10 minutes break, irrespective of whether you take it from home or the
Yes. Yeah. No. You can take it as you want.
Okay, but if not, then
you can skip it.
this.
So this is that is a disadvantage when you do it in the center. Because when you do it in the center, you have to pass the security check. If you're going to the center, there would be a full scanning, like an airport scan, right? So they would ask you to move the sleeves and all, and they would check everything, and then only they will let you in. And when you're coming from break, then you have to pass the security check again. Again, you have to pass the security check, right? And you have to find the washrooms and all, right? So you have to walk and all, right? That is one disadvantage in home-based. I mean, center-based exam.
Actually, if you want to write for 230 minutes continuously, then
no one stops. No one stops. And the exam is not divided like people, process, and business environment. It is all questions together. So sometimes a single question could be from people also, from process also. But we do not know whether PMI have put it under process or PP. That is a challenge in the current examination. If you look at a question, it will have techniques, scope related techniques discussed there, and also interpersonal skill, in the scenario. So where would you put this? So don't worry about people, process, business environment, only to discuss where is the topics, that's all. After that, that doesn't make any sense. You have to read all the topics, that's all. Okay? In whatever order you want, you can read it. As long as you know all those topics, that's enough. Okay, okay, I'm moving ahead with I'm going to show you some questions, okay, so that you can have a taste of how, these are only mock questions, okay, this doesn't, these are not real ones, right? Yeah, I'll start with the easy one.
Anyone?
Yes, after this, after the exam, I will tell it to you. So we are discussing about the exam, right? After this, I'll talk about it. Do you see this? I see some chat here. Is there a center here? Yes, there are centers in Abu Dhabi, there are centers in Dubai. I'm not sure about Sharjah. Dubai and Abu Dhabi, there are centers.
Knowledge village.
That's Prometric, no? Yes, Pearson is also there in Knowledge Village.
One in
Prometric is in Knowledge Village. Earlier, people used to take it from Knowledge Village only. Also remember, as of now, the examination is you can take it from home, but we do not know about the future. Okay, because there is a gossip rumor in our area, in our field, area in the sense within that the instructor, this one that, yeah, that they would because there are a lot of this happening, no? So they may stop it. That's what I say. Yeah. Read this question and give your answer. Guys online, give your answers in the chat box. Why am I not reading is because I may emphasize on a word, right? That may be a clue. I want you to read. Wrong. B. Wrong.
B.
B is the right answer. So B is the right answer. Okay. So there is even without any project management techniques and all, this is related to which area? People area, right? So here you don't require what, whether it is predictive project or agile project, that is not required. It's a common thing, right? So this kind of questions you can see. So it's a simple question as long as you know certain tips. So the tip is never escalate it in the first time. Okay, deal with it. Escalation is the last resort. Okay, and never assign your responsibility to somebody. Okay, so if you look at this here, what is the problem? Project team members, other team members are worrying that a new resource, which means a new team member, does not seem suitable for an allocated task. How should the project manager respond to this concern? Contact senior management. Would you contact senior management immediately? No. Escalation is the last resort. To discuss the prospect of reassign. Would you reassign a new resource just because you hear from somebody? Of course not. First of all, we are not getting resource only. So we will try to, even if we know that, we will try to manage with that resource, right? Then B, let us leave the B for some time. Let's go for C. Ask the team members to document the task related deficiency. This is a person related. This is not something related to the task. This is related to a person, right? So that could be a bias. Okay, who knows that your team members don't like the new guy, right? So it is your responsibility to talk to that person directly. So when something is related to interpersonal aspects, then you be there. Okay, you take the first-hand information. So you are asking your team members to document the task-related deficiencies displayed by the resource. Now contact, and here again one more thing. Why this is the wrong answer? This you can take it as a clue. Whenever they give more importance to documentation. For example, there is an issue. One of the answer is like document the issue log. Well, documenting will solve the problem. Documenting is necessary. That is a good thing to do, but that is not the first thing. Correct. So documenting is required, You will, wherever you see a skill gap, yes, we will document. Why? Because that will become an input to the training. The training department will take these skill gaps and then only they will arrange for the training programs. Yes, documentation is important.
Documentation is an output. Outcome is.
Right, exactly. Got it. Glad. Okay, so you have to address that. Okay, address that. So it doesn't talk about addressing. It talks about documenting or assigning your responsibility to somebody else. That is why C is not the right answer. So D, again, contacting the sponsor is again escalation. So the best thing is schedule time to talk with a new resource to assess their skills and understand their strength level. Always analyze, then only conclude. Always analyze. If it is not, it is out of your hands, then only escalate. I'll show you some little tough question. This is also easy as long as we can apply some tricks. Also, don't mind the grammatical errors of PMP question, because PMP question is taken by people like you and me, right? Non-natives. So instructors across the world, professionals, PMP certified can also contribute as long as you get a personal invite from PMI for somebody. So don't mind grammatical errors. Always use the delete. First, what you can delete. Okay. Always eliminate an option. Whichever is not correct, first eliminate it. Like the crorepati, no? You have choice to, you know,
B and C can be eliminated.
A or D.
Yeah.
What do you want to choose?
A is
A is the right answer. Okay. So, so obviously, you know, B and why B is not the right answer, going to sponsor. And also here, modify the project charter. Where are you now? In which stage you are in? A week previous to the project kickoff, which means has the project has started or not? Not yet started.
Not yet.
So you will not have a project charter.
Yeah.
Okay, by this time, only when the project charter marks the kickoff. So you don't have a project charter. How do you modify the project? Which is not there. So B is in two ways it is wrong. Another way why C is wrong. Note the concerns in the issue log. Again, it is talking about document.
Yeah.
Number two, issue log you will not have. When will you have issue log? Which is stage of the project? Executing stage. You are not even in initiating. So executing stage, you will first of all not have a issue log, right? So again, two ways this answer is wrong. Now, why not D? Why A? Because of the stage where you are in.
Yeah.
Right. So, for example, identifying threats? What do you mean by threats? Risks.
Yeah.
Threats are what?
Risks.
Negative risks, right? So you will have a risk. You will have a risk register, and you will document the risks. This risk register, when it will come into picture? Once the project has started. Once the project has started, if you document a risk, that is called as risk register. Before starting the project, if you analyze the risk, it is called as feasibility study. You understand? In feasibility study also, what you will have? You will have risks. You will analyze the risk. Okay, what is the current condition? Is it feasible or many details you will have it in feasibility study. We will have a separate discussion on feasibility study anyway. Okay. So a week, of course, a week previous to the project kickoff, if you are doing feasibility study, it is a very last moment. But still, that's what I tell you. Remove your experience cap. Wear a PMI cap. Okay. What PMI expects from you? Okay. PMI expects from whatever they have dealt in their books. Okay. So a week previous to the project kickoff, a project manager meets with the key project. This is a week previous to feasibility study. They have to have some question. Definitely, you'll have some question on feasibility study. Okay. So this is that question. Okay. So this is likewise we have to analyze each and every question. So this kind of questions are the highest. 80% of the question will be like some situation, small situation. You may be fortunate to get 3-line question. Sometimes if you are unfortunate, you will get 5-line question. Okay. So the question itself will consume your time. Always remember that when you're reading, everybody have paid, because I'm telling some important information. Okay, these are some tips and tricks, okay? So if you get whenever you study a question, read the question and immediately read the answer. Don't read the question second time without reading the answer. Because when you read the answer, you will understand the question better. For example, if you're reading the answer, now you know what they are trying to ask. Understand? So read the question, answer, even if you don't understand the question properly, write the answer. Now you'll have better clarity. Then if you want to read the question second time, you read it. And whatever you think your gut feeling says, okay, write for it, it is usually wrong. Okay, so break it down. Okay, break down you have to apply your PMI knowledge, logic, and common sense, the most uncommon thing in the world. Okay, so apply common sense. All that is required, right? So your PMI knowledge is important. So if you have 25 years of experience, so I have many project directors. In one of my class, 70 years, one person was in my class. That was a great thing to learn. He was a very active student among all the students, right? He did his PMP. After several years of experience as a project director, maybe he's migrating. So he wants to start his own consulting company. So they're asking for such kind of this one, right? So your experience, yes, it adds value, but PMP, PMBOK knowledge and all the knowledge that you get through the books published by PMI is very, very important, right? That's what they would test here. And many questions, I'll show you one more question. This question. Guys in construction, during your break, collaborate with IT people. Okay, and guys in IT, collaborate with construction people to know each other language.
Sure.
Okay, right. Actually, this is not the question that I wanted to show anyway, because it is very straightforward. Okay, now this question, although it talks about some IT thing and all, it is not a technical aspect, So you can understand that this is an agile based question by looking at the term Scrum Master for an agile managed project during a sprint review. Sprint review means iteration review. Okay. You found that there has been a major error in the coding process, which is created a bit. You reach out to the development team to find the root cause or what should be a best approach as a servant leader here. Of course, no blaming. Okay, A is not the right answer. No, don't blame. Identify the developer who made this error, reassign him. Don't terminate. So that's not the first resort. It's not the first thing to do. Plan a review meeting with the development team. Identify the developer who created the error and try to understand the root cause. Arrange a training developer if a training was okay. Plan a review meeting with the development team. Identify the developer who created the error. Ask him to correct the error. 3 or 4.
Three.
Why not 4?
The first one. Ask him to
Because,
correct. It should not happen again. Before that, we can understand, discussing with him.
Right.
What are the root cause,
Right.
then we can correct it.
Yeah, right. And 4th is also
Part
Kind of.
of the.
the second part before client catches it.
Yeah.
Right? So transparency.
Yeah.
So Agile calls for transparency. We're not trying to hide anything for the client, right? So that is also I will be showing that. That is the new thing. Okay. So the answer is 3 for this. Okay, this question was what actually I wanted to show. This, you see this 6 lines. Why 2, why 3?
Because we have to fix it at the earliest. The next stand-up is the right platform.
All right.
And
Any other questions? Yeah.
4, I'm not sure of the prototyping, but
Any other thoughts?
First.
First one. Okay. So you see this names of the meeting, you know. So the point, what is the issue here?
some to close an iteration cycle.
Okay. Suddenly, one of your developer mentioned that a feature which would have enabled the users to view the cooking time of the order 4 format was missed. So there is some missing feature, which is an issue, right? A technical issue or a missed. On investigation, it was found that the design team did not provide a necessary input into the development team to enable the feature. What should you do as a project to prevent this situation in the future? Okay. They're not asking to correct the issue now. They're asking you to prevent the situation in the future. Okay. Now you have seen some meeting names. Iteration meeting. Actually, the original meeting name is iteration planning meeting. Whether they are just trying to cut that word planning because you will have an obvious answer, then it is not the right answer, right? So there are 5 important meetings which we will be talking about it in future. Iteration planning meeting, daily stand-up meeting, iteration review meeting, retrospective meeting, backlog refinement meeting. Okay,
It's
like
around for part of Agile.
Agile. Okay. So these are different ceremonies. We call it as Agile. What is a ceremony? Something standard if you do. Okay, again and again, if you do, that's called as a ceremony. We'll talk about those 5 ceremonies. Okay. So in this iteration meeting, when you say iteration meeting or iteration planning meeting, this is to plan what is going to happen in the next cycle. Okay. So for example, who is going to do what job? What are the features that we have to take it for the next cycle? What is acceptance criteria for those? So it is about the next cycle. Okay. It doesn't talk about what happened in the previous cycle. It talks about what is going to happen in the next cycle. Retrospective. Retro means what? Past. Okay. Retrospective means what? Past. Right? The recent past. That's what you call as retro. Retrospective means lessons learned meeting. So now you hear your okay. You tell them that we will take it in the retrospect. Okay. So retrospective meeting is a lessons learned meeting. Okay. So what happens in the last iteration? How we should change our management approach? How the team should change their behavior? So that 45 minutes meeting is called as a retrospective. So only in this meeting, what do? They talk about what happened in the past. They analyze the root cause and what is the way forward. Okay, how do we prevent such situations in the way forward in the coming iterations, right? That's a retrospective. So why not daily stand-up meeting? Daily stand-up meeting is only 15 minutes. Strictly 15 minutes. So in this meeting, we will only discuss what did we do today, what we have to do today. That's what we will discuss. Okay. Today, what tasks the team have to do? Strictly 15 minutes. Even if you have 15 members, it's 15 minutes only. Okay. So in daily stand-up meeting, you will not have time to break down the problem and all that, right? That you don't do, right? So that's why daily stand-up meeting is not the answer. But it's a close answer. Because in daily stand-up meeting also you talk about what is the problem that stops us today. Okay, it doesn't talk about the future or the yesterday or the past iteration. Current issues and current progress. And address the issue in prototyping. Prototyping means they have just manipulated the word. That is the iteration review meeting. So in iteration review meeting, the people will show the prototype, demonstrate the prototype to the customers or to the product owners. Okay, so they will look at that prototypes and give their feedback. So this is to review whether the product is good or not, right? So pardon? So the answer is number 2. Right, number 2 is the answer. Retrospective meeting is where there is.
What is the situation was to solve the issue?
Pardon?
Yeah, rather than the question saying type of situation in future, how we can like.
Then
it's
daily
agile.
stand-up, then the daily stand-up meeting is the best choice. In the sense, out of the given, although in daily stand-up meeting, you don't go for a deeper root cause analysis, because here they have told about or investigation and all. You don't do investigation and all in daily stand-up meeting. If daily stand-up meeting it should be an answer, then few things will not be there in the question. So the question will be much more like, so they would have said that you wanna understand the blocks, you wanna understand the little hurdles. Okay, so this is what you can do in a daily stand-up meeting. That investigation and all we don't do it in the daily stand-up.
Now, one more thing, this is for the future, okay? So that means this issue needs to be answered should be addressed in the next iteration.
Right.
So in this, in that iteration meeting, we should discuss this.
What is the question? The question did not ask you, how do you fix this now? If it is about fixing this now, then the answer would be the most what you call close answer is in the given option, daily stand-up meeting. But the question is very particular. So this you have to be very clear in the exam. What do you sometimes it asks you, what do you do first? What do you do next? What do you do in future? Okay, these are pretty important to note. Sometimes you have got 4 of them are right. The question is, what do you do next? Okay, all the 4 are correct thing to do in the situation, but that is not the next thing to do. Okay, so which is the next immediate step? Sometimes they may give you what is the first thing you do. Again, you have 4 right thing to do, but all the other 3 are not the first thing. Okay, so what is the next? What is the first thing? What is the next thing? Or what would you do to avoid it in the future? Right. So this will have importance in the examination. That is why, see, in most of the, if you have a fair understanding about the PMP syllabus, most of the time you can easily eliminate 2 answers. Out of 4, 2 can be eliminated if you already have practiced some questions and all, and you have listened to the class and all. But selecting out of this 2, which one is the right? That is where the challenge lies. For that, you have to use the PMI knowledge. So what extra preparations you are doing, that will only help you to. So practicing 50% if you are preparing by the theory, by attending the class, another 50%, not 50, but 50 could be exaggeration. 40, another 40% is by practicing questions. Prototype is a model for a product. If I'm going to create this pen, like a pen-like model, I already have created and I'm showcasing to the customer. Like in construction, you use this mock-up. So the mock-up is prototype. Mock-up, simulation.
So these are all the questions based on this kind of case study or about the team book and the reference combination of this? Are they all questions?
For example, how do you know the stand-up meeting, about stand-up meeting? It is available in Agile Guide. How do you know about prototyping? We will be talking about prototyping in the PMP Guide 6th edition. So all of these terms we are going to discuss because these are all part of what? What are the conditions of a daily stand-up meeting? What are the conditions of a retrospective meeting? All these are only found in the books. Are we clear? That's why we require, practice will give you some confidence. Never go for the examination without practicing. Okay, minimum 600 questions you have to practice before you go for the exam, which means 3 tests. Okay, so minimum 600 questions. You will get all the questions from Quadra Plus. You don't have to go for any extra source. If you want to go for extra source, you can tell me that. I will tell you some portals where you can buy some questions, because don't randomly practice some question, because many questions are outdated. Okay, you have to know what is latest question, right? So many times many websites will give you deliberately tough question so that you will buy their package. Okay, so be aware of all those things. You let me know if after you have practiced all the questions that we give you, if you think that okay, I want to get more confidence, let me know. I will recommend some websites. Okay.
So the meetings which is mentioned here, like preparation plan meeting, is what we call like if what would be like weekly review meeting.
No,
Like, normally-
weekly review meeting is different from iteration planning meeting.
That is, that's what we are
No,
doing.
you can consider a weekly review meeting somewhat close to iteration review meeting. There are five meetings, right? Iteration planning meeting, iteration review meeting. After iteration review meeting, we do the retrospective. Don't worry about it. We will be talking about like we will have a elaborate because this is pretty important. See, agile, the portions are less and simple. But the only thing is these terminologies are new to you. That's all. Right? Actually, agile have actually simplified the exam. If you talk to any student who have taken the examination in 2019, and you talk to if at all that student have failed and took the exam now, he can tell you that how much simplified the exam have become. Actually, the agile have saved our lives. That's what I'm telling. It is only new to you. Okay, but we will be talking about all this. Okay, just hold on, because I have something else to talk before I have another class. Okay, by the way, can we meet at 8 o'clock? No. Right. So in that case, we are going to have it like 8:30 to 12:30, because I think your original schedule was given as 8 to 2:30 because there were a lot of holidays earlier, right? The current batch is not over. You and also remember that please be 35. They would have given you schedule for 35 hours, right? That 35 hours is PMI recommended hours. That is not at all enough to complete your syllabus. If you are very serious about your PMP examination, be ready for extra class, please. Okay, because the syllabus is so heavy. Because you have to read 3 guides: PMP Guide 6th edition, Agile Practice Guide, and some portions in PMP Guide 7th edition. So all this at how much ever time that I spent on this class, that much time you can save in your self-preparation. Okay, so many institutes, what do? They just take 35 hours just to give the certificate. I don't believe in that. I have got the 63 students passed in the last year, which is very high in the global, because number of hardly one person will go per batch for the exam. Okay, hardly one person will go for exam. Okay, so if 3 people are going, success. Is that per batch I'm talking? A batch of average 15 students. That's how the committed students we have in that. Right? So if you want to be committed, when will you be committed? Only if you attend all the classes. I hope all of you are serious, right? The same enthusiasm that I see today, I wish that that we will have it towards the end. Okay, slowly.
So you say that we're looking for 6 weekends.
Of course, we are going to have extra.
What do you say that we 35 hours, you will have extra class
Obviously.
in weekdays?
No, weekend. Okay.
6 weeks.
I'm also working. So weekends only, Sundays
8:30 to
only,
12:30.
8:30 to 12:30. But when towards the end, we may change it little in the afternoon. Okay. So if at all there's an extra class, probably 3 extra classes, not beyond that. Okay. 3 extra classes, you may have to be a little ready. Okay. And those extra classes I will record. I do not know whether I should say this, because the moment I say record, I don't say attendance. Okay. So I would record that extra classes because that's extra. So I should give you the privilege to people who have not ready for that, right? So I will record that. Today only I'm recording it, right?
Yeah.
Probably next class I will record. After that we don't record. Okay. I will give you certain record I'm yet to finish my introduction. We have little more things to talk. Okay, we have to talk about renewal. We have to talk about reference guides, and I have to give you the agenda. I have to explain that agenda first. Okay. So what is how the session is going to go? What are the topics? So I will tell you like which will be covered from 6th edition, which will be covered from. So all those agenda will be given in the next class. So we are meeting from 8:30 to 12:30, right? So this may go for till I complete my old batch, because of otherwise I usually only 1 week we will take, otherwise we'll go for it because of the holidays like New Year and December 1, 2 every because of that, and because of my sickness also. So for next 3 or 4 weeks, we will have like 8:30 to 12:30, and then after we will have it till 8:30. Please, I request all of you. And Okay, what is that? What do you have to do it before you come in the next class? Assignment 1.
Homework.
Huh?
Homework.
Yes, homework. Assignment 1. Review the syllabus. I want you to read each and every sentence in the syllabus. Sometimes by reading the syllabus itself, we can attempt some 5 questions. Yeah. So read the syllabus line by line. Okay. 2 times you read it. Okay. Take a printout and paste it in your wherever you visit often. Okay. In your home. Number 2. You will be receiving books, right? PMBOK Guide 6th edition you will be receiving. Page number 25 in the PMBOK Guide 6th edition.
How would we be this? They are-
Oh.
I think most of you would have received it by this time.
I think after the payment only. Oh.
So it means that. Okay. Right. So PMBOK Guide 6th edition, page, when I say page number 25, it is the book page number, not the PDF number.
Correct.
Because the PDF starts from the cover page, index page and all. Book will start from only chapter 1. Okay. So page number 25, you will see a table. What you will see there? A table. I want you to take a printout of that. When you are coming in the next class, take it and come. Okay. And people who are in online, kindly take a printout of that and keep it in front of you before we start any class. Okay. That is second assignment, assignment number 2. And I want you to review the index page of PMBOK Guide 6th edition. Index will tell you the chapters, right? So look at the index page of how many chapters you have, what you see in those chapters, what are the titles. Okay. Review that. Okay. You should make the 6th edition your friend. Okay. You have to go to that often. Okay. And you have to touch the dirt, the page. Okay. So that it should become your friend. Okay. Not your pillow. There's a heavy book. Okay. So take a, I'm an old school. I love to read it physically, tangible. But I would suggest that because it's a heavy book, 756 pages. Okay.
But why are you saying 6th edition when we have a 7th?
Because 7th edition is not adequately covering your syllabus.
Yeah, so we'll go through this.
6th edition and whatever is missed in the 6th edition, that will only be covered in the 7th. 6th edition is elaborate than 7th edition. 7th edition is only 300 pages, including index, annexure, everything together. It's only approximately 300.
Only.
No,
Right?
but the exam will be based on seventh edition.
No. That is why I clarified.
Yeah.
Syllabus is different, book is
It's
different.
different now.
You have to see what covers your syllabus. So we have 3 guides. We have to follow 3 guides. An overview of 6th edition, agile practice guide, and whatever is missed in the 6th edition, whatever new topics are introduced in the 7th edition, whatever is relevant in our syllabus, that we have to cover from 7th edition. That's why I say heavy syllabus has become very heavy. 48 hours itself is very difficult for me to, that's why I kept introductory session
The
before.
exam can be based on-
Not 2 hours, 4 hours.
If you are good, this is a-
Yeah, it depends upon, it depends upon, who are you, right? It depends on, right? It is. I took exactly 4 hours in my examination. Okay, because little, reluctant to close the exam. Even I am the person who, the teacher will say, give, even that, that kind of a person. So if you are like, okay, this mark is enough, I pass, okay. Yeah, there are cases, 2 hours students are finished sometimes,
But the path.
fast. I don't talk about failing students. Failing students are out of my contact. I deleted their contact. Kidding. Okay. See, if you ask me that what is the probability of passing in the, even if I say there are 5% probability, you should not be that 5%, right? Because so I would say whoever have informed me and gone for the examination in the last year, 3 students have failed in the first attempt, passed in the second attempt. Because that first attempt is because it could be like maybe they misunderstood it. There is a chance, right? But I have never heard of a student who has failed in the second attempt. That's why I told you. I always have a lot of students who have not gone for the examination, but I don't have a student who have failed in the second attempt. So attempting will make you pass, but if you don't attempt, you will not pass. But you have 0% probability, right? You can take a number. I mean,
Yearly matching.
no.
No?
Okay, coming to the shall we talk about this in next class?
Sure.
Okay, so please note down your question.
Review the
Meanwhile,
next page.
let me look at it. 8:30 to 12:30 next class. Yes. When will we get the study material? Please contact your coordinators. They would have, by this time, if you would have completed all your registration process and stuff, they would have sent you. Otherwise, please do contact them. Okay. So your materials, my side of materials, like my notes, the questions from my side, I will be giving it in a WhatsApp. Okay. So I'll give it like a G Drive, Google Drive link. But the book materials should all come from the institute. So please do contact your coordinator. So in the next class, we will talk about the re-attempts. Yes, we have to talk about the worst, right? So let's talk about that. And then the renewal process, we have to talk about it. And I'm yet to discuss about exam questions. I just showed you some questions. I will still have to talk about exam questions. How are we doing today?
Yeah.
So have the same enthusiasm.
So we need to review the index page of both 6th edition.
Pardon?
We have to review the index page
Yes.
of both 6th edition.
If you review this index page of 6th and 7th and Agile practice guide, I would be happy. Okay, but at least the 6th edition. I want. Okay, so at least the 6th edition, 6th to 7th and Agile guide, look at the index page. And look at the syllabus. Page number 25, paste it. Take it. One copy, take it with you. Because next class, I will be introducing that page number 25. Thank you.
Thank you
Okay,
very much.
Thank you.